are.
Finally.
What are we doing here today?
We are premiering our very first episode of the Mind Your Business podcast, where we discuss staying business-minded.
And mindful of your business.
It's really important to make sure that those two tracks are at the same pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're an entrepreneur, when you're building a business,
balance is key.
Or even if you're not, even just in your day-to-day life, making sure that you have the confidence to decipher your decision-making and move forward in full force is something really important. And in a world where information is constantly being thrown at you, opportunity seems so close but so far away, it is really easy to suffer from
You have to clear all that bullshit out the way and make sure you have a clear mind and ready to hit the ground running to accomplish the things that you know you need to do.
Exactly. And decision paralysis is one of the biggest dream killers I think that any entrepreneur or anybody in general can have.
Yeah.
And so Ryan and I, as two completely separate entities in two completely different worlds.
Not no more.
We wanted to come together and kind of broadcast this friendship that we've been able to develop over the years.
Yes.
I'm definitely really excited to let the audience know kind of how we came to be.
Yes.
If you want to tell the story, because you tell it best.
Long story short, we were two young kids with a dream. Nobody believed in us. When I met Val, long story short, we were working at a restaurant, and the restaurant's irrelevant. Just know we were at a restaurant. And I looked at her one day when she was studying, and I said, "You're going to sell me a house." Didn't know when, didn't know how, knew for a fact I wasn't ready to buy a house at the time. Now we're sitting in my house filming the show that Val sold me, what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, almost 2 years ago. And it's so funny because I remember I would stand at this counter in the restaurant that we were working in. I had bought a laptop that I knew I was going to need for real estate. I wanted something good, something with lots of storage.
Yep.
I purchased that laptop with 3 gift cards and like $100 cash and the rest on a credit card because I was so broke, but I needed to get it.
You made it happen.
I needed it on a Black Friday sale at that. So everyone was really happy to have to wait in line.
But look where you're at now, that little investment.
Exactly. And I just remember standing at that restaurant and there was a pull-out drawer that I would keep the laptop in because I wasn't allowed to study on the clock.
You did.
And when my manager would come around, I was studying for my national exam, and I would just like push it into the drawer and like pretend to be doing my job. But Ryan would kind of always like walk by and smirk and like make his comments, and he'd ask me, and I was like, well, Ryan, what are you doing? Like, I see you over there. Like, it looks like you're up to something. Like, what are you up to, friend? And
you're a smart lady.
And you're like, I just remember the first time you said it, you kind of looked around and you saw who was around, and and you were like, I want to start a business brand. And I was like, what? You're like, I want to start a beauty brand. And I just remember you kind of looked around.
It's very cliche, and a lot of people do it, so a lot of people don't believe in it.
Yeah, and I was like,
I think it's possible.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Like, what are you doing? What are you working with? And that was, gosh,
you really were one of the first people to believe in me, honestly. Like, I started a sugar scrub in my kitchen that I made. Didn't even know what the hell I was doing, truthfully.
Bomb. I love that sugar scrub.
Thank you. So many people really do to this day. So, I still have that scrub. I don't know if y'all keep it for nostalgia or what.
No, I used all mine in like a few months, and I tried to mimic it, and I couldn't get it down.
I tell you what, though, it's insane growing from that, something you start in your kitchen, to being able to meet manufacturers all over the world and create something from an idea in your brain to a physical product, kind of like we're doing today with this show. Like, bringing something to life is so indescribable. The palette, like, for example, my brand just launched a palette, and I was so scared that people were going to be afraid of the colors or who wears blue eyeshadow, right? And I was so in my head, and that gets into the imposter syndrome that we'll talk about later. But if you would have given up on yourself, you would never have sold me a house. If I would have given up on myself, I wouldn't have thousands of people who have my little product in their makeup bag every day to get ready with. So as long as you believe in yourself, it really doesn't matter who believes in you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it does help to have friends like our friendship, because honestly, I don't think personally, honestly, Valerie, I don't know if I've told you this truthfully. I don't think my beauty brand would be where it is today without people like you, because it gives you the confidence to move forward in your own lane. You know what I'm saying? So when someone comes to you and they believe in you with this like huge deal, you just shut down usually, or you'd make it happen. And we made it happen.
That is such a beautiful thing, because when I've been asked, not that everyone's like, hey Valerie, how are you where you are now, because there's so much farther to go, but when it is asked like, wow, you just have a lot going on, how do you keep track of it, how do you, it's the belief in yourself, but that belief is implanted by others and having that environment. And it's so funny because the very first people I think of when I think of my support system and how I've been able to kind of navigate through this life of building a business and entrepreneurship, you are one of the first people to come to mind. And we're each other's support system. And that friendship wouldn't have came to be if we kind of followed society's standards of who you should be friends with and why. We stand on opposite ends of the spectrum on a lot of issues.
Political, religious, so many different things. Like, but you know what? The difference is between us and most people is I value hearing her opinion. She's such a smart lady. At one time, there was a certain political thing that's irrelevant for me to talk about right now, but I was like, I have to ask Valerie what her stance is on this. And you told me we didn't agree, but I respected her because as a woman that is so smart in my eyes that I look up to, it's good to have somebody bring another point of view sometimes. Exactly. You know what I mean?
And and it helps, like, even if you don't agree with somebody's opinion or somebody's position, it always helps to keep in mind that they're intelligent enough to have a reason to think and believe what they're saying.
Yeah,
and
you don't have to believe them or anything, but
and I respect you as well. I'm like, your experience navigating through life is completely different from mine, and the fact that you have your own set of trials that I'll never be able to understand, and
vice versa,
and you've overcome that to create this community of people to help people feel better about themselves, to help people feel beautiful, to bring people together in a way. Like, anybody who's capable of doing that with positivity at the core deserves respect, because it's so much easier to garner a crowd of people when you have a common enemy rather than a common interest.
Yes.
And so the fact that you were able to do that, not by bashing others, not by putting others down, not by taking away from somebody else's life, but by saying, hey, this is something I love.
I want to add this value to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I respect you tremendously for that.
I always will respect you for selling me my home and putting me in a home when I didn't think I was ready. So I will always have respect for you for giving me one of the most precious gifts, which is also a huge sense of confidence. At 27 years old, for me to come to somebody that's around my age and say, hey, I want to buy a house. What can you do for me? And you gave me the connections. You did everything you could have done, when most people would have said, you're not worth my time. I'm not going to make enough money off of you. I need to go for this certain goal. You constantly build off of helping others and truthfully caring. And later in other episodes, we're going to discuss my home buying process through Val, and
that was a journey. Let me tell you guys. Yeah, we'll save it.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode. But I appreciate that recognition, and ultimately, I won't get too far into it because I do want to dive into your journey and your experience as to where you are now. But just briefly, like any industry where you are coordinating, helping somebody, and decisions that are going to impact their life long term. Yeah. It has to come from a place of passion to help and to serve. And I would be 100% lying if I said that was the motivation from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to be able to step outside of where I am presently and look at that from the past. That wasn't always it. And then I realized that very quickly, money is not enough to motivate you to serve your clients correctly. Money is not enough to motivate you to stay on top of your business so it stays consistent.
That all money ain't good money.
No, exactly.
So, for example, for me, like if I was just to slap my brand logo on some, excuse my language, but it is what it is, some shitty product, then it goes into the next building your name up. So like if you get 3 good products from me and when I launch a 4th one, you're going to be like, oh, I have to get this. I need it. All the other ones are amazing. And I launch a crappy one just to get the money. It's going to start tarnishing your brand to the point of like, last time I didn't have a good experience. So it's the same thing in real estate. I think like if you really didn't care about where you're putting these people, word of mouth, they're going to be like, this girl who didn't care and she just threw me in here and didn't even bring this, or this to my attention, which, like I said, we're going to get into my episode. I almost ended up in a whole different situation than the lovely home that I have today. But I will say this, Val, having a friendship like me and you are doing, like sitting here together on the show, talking, having our name on something together that we're going to pour into, that's a second company, choosing to partner with somebody, to believe in somebody enough to say, hey, you're not part of my beauty brand, but my face and my marketing and my branding and my love, support, passion is going to go into this project that your face is on too. You truthfully have to know every side of this person and trust them and love them and say, hey, you know what? I cannot wait to grow this with you. Like, It's going to be
He's
insane.
our little baby.
Episode
Y'all are watching
1.
the birth of our baby, guys. I know that's kind of graphic. I don't know why I said that.
But no, it is what it is. Episode 1. This is the birth. Mind Your Business, hosted by who?
Ryan and Valerie. We're going to cut to a short break so you can see some of these products that we're talking about. And when we come back, we're going to dive into exactly what Ryan struggled with to get to where he is and what direction he plans on going from here. Thanks, guys.
Rated R Beauty's Loud and Proud eyeshadow palette, 35 different shades, 3 different formulas, mattes, shimmers, and glitters. Beautiful, endless possibilities. Next up is our sculpting palette for your eyes, face, and body in a fun 6-shade compact with a travel size mirror. Next up is our main event, our Rated R Beauty Mascara, hypoallergenic and waterproof, guaranteed to leave your lashes voluminous. Want to know more for free shipping? Google us. Mwah.
I wanted you as a beauty brand owner who is in the space of selling products to enhance beauty, to uplift women or men or whoever wants to use your products, make themselves feel good, make themselves feel better. I wanted to give you a chance to respond to this because I think this is a struggle that a lot of women are facing, and somewhere that I turn to friends like yours to help me with this issue. So I won't say her name, but I resonate with this a lot. And I know a lot of other women listening can too. Sorry to get so deep and so vulnerable in episode 1, but this is the show. So she says, I know I'm not a supermodel like you see on TV or the Instagram girls you follow on your socials. I am a fighter. I fight every day to fit into the lifestyle of which you can always find prettier or easier. I am so done fighting to be a girl that has to meet the high standards of men, even women, to fit in or get likes on a social platform. I am just me. And maybe me is not meant for thousands of likes, but what I do know is my heart makes up for what my outer cover does not. And I would like to go out to say this is a very beautiful woman who's posting this to society standards, to my personal standards. I think she's gorgeous. I find myself wondering what it's like to have men stare at my beauty in a world of filters. I'll never quite fit into the standard. What's sad is people completely pass by the girls that believe life and love exists for girls to say which one. I'm not quite sure what she meant by that part, but she ends it by saying it's an endless cycle I no longer want to be a part of, and true love almost seems extinct.
Now, what would my response be to her if she was sitting in front of me right now and said that to me? I would basically, representing myself and my brand, I would turn to her and I would say they have nothing. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with the products I sell. I want to show people truly finding happiness in yourself and loving yourself is a beauty standard in its own that needs to be risen and shouted to the top of the mountains, because Valerie's not going to look like Olivia or whoever, or Natalia, or all these people. You're not going to look like the girl next to you. So therefore, what gives you the right to call her or act or say that she's any less than you in beauty, you know? But we all do it every day. It comes in judgment.
Well, and I think in today's, I hate to say like a grandpa, but in today's day and age where validation and who you are, and how
today's stage with the Kardashians
and how important social media is, it is really hard not to get caught up in, oh, I got
BBLs, nose jobs, tummy tucks, boob jobs. You
name it, they're going to sell it to you, and they're going to sell it to you teeth as the solution to all of your problems, which at the end of the day, if you don't know me personally or haven't known me for a while, I can speak personally to this. I have not gotten anything done, but I've lost a significant amount of weight.
Yes.
And I always had this number in my head of, okay, I get to this number, I'm going to feel fine. I'm going to walk into a room, I'm going to grab everyone's attention, I'm going to own my life, I'm going to just have this confidence exuberating from within me. And you know what happened after I lost 60 pounds?
You're never satisfied.
No, I looked in the mirror and I started going, well, I used to like my nose.
Yeah, you're never satisfied.
But no, I don't. I remember the day I looked at my nose and I literally looked up how much are nose jobs.
Yeah.
You know, like it's something that we all struggle with.
But it's ingrained in us. Think about it. It's basically, you go to school to learn, right?
Yeah.
So you go on social media to be entertained. You go to social media to be influenced. You go on social media to see what's going on, to keep up.
We haven't meshed with this idea of like, this is life. And it is cliche to say, but I think
it is life today.
I think it's important to take it back to the basics of, if you are going to constantly be on social media, which we all are, you have to constantly tell yourself, they are showing me the best sides of them. And literally, whether it's the best sides of their life and experiences and trips and cars and finances, or just the best physical side of them as they're sucked in, tucked in, and posed, you know, ready, camera ready, just like
Photoshop to the nines,
Photoshop
to the gods. I would start with getting vulnerable with her. I was a little gay boy that grew up in Lugoff, South Carolina. Trust me, I was not by society standards normal by any means. As somebody who was looked at in a negative light, you could say, remember how you want to be looked at for all your beauty or this or that. Sometimes you're looked at for your flaws, which your flaws sometimes can be your greatest asset. That a girl once told me my beauty brand would not be as successful as it is if I wasn't a gay man. For a long time, I took offense to that. I was so down. I was so like, what the hell? What did she mean? Why would she say that? But she was right. It was one of my biggest flaws, the little gay guy for the longest time, scared. Are you gay? People would ask me all the time, are you gay? My little crazy ass would say, no. But now, yeah, I'd be like, no, bro, I ain't gay. But the thing is, that little scared gay boy, if I could go back and tell him, one day you're going to grow up and who you are is going to influence thousands of people. It's going to make people feel, screw the products that I sell. If you see me online talking about some crazy beauty stuff, the fact that you've seen somebody that was like you, which is different, out here making it and saying, hey, I own my own beauty brand. These are my beauty standards. Create your own.
Create your own beauty standard.
Confidence is...
That's what I would tell her.
Confidence is taught. Confidence is not something you're born with, because you can go either way. You can be the most self-conscious person in the world. But when you wake up and you change your mindset and you teach yourself confidence and you wake up and you say, hey, there ain't nothing I can do about the nose that I was given from God. There ain't nothing I can do about these little boobs. You could buy more.
You could, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be another problem. Now, I want to hit on this before we move.
Never satisfied, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Before we move past, I really want to hit on this point because I think it's really important. For lack of a better reference, we all kind of grew up with this in the back of our heads, like the Disney motto of follow your heart, follow your dreams. You are enough. But at the end of the day, telling yourself that isn't going to make you believe it. And so I think it's really important that people understand that in moments and seasons in life, for what you want and what you expect of yourself, sometimes you are not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes you enough is putting forth the effort to meet those standards within yourself.
Yeah, not giving up ever.
Not giving up.
Sounds so cliche, but
a lot of people, they think, oh, I have to do this because this is what's expected of me. I need to look this way because this is what's going to get me accepted. This is what's going to do that. But at the end of the day, what we have done is put those standards within ourselves. And so if that's a standard that you want to meet, like for me, again, personally, mine was weight. Mm-hmm. I was unhealthy. I was unmotivated. It was affecting my mental. It was affecting my capability to be active with my daughter, and the stamina and energy I had to work 2 jobs and go to school and take care of her and be emotionally present with her. Like it was a goal of mine because it was affecting my life and it was affecting my self-confidence for the physical reasons. And so I looked at myself and I said, Valerie, in the state that you are in, it's not that I looked at myself and said, Valerie, you don't deserve love. Absolutely not. You deserve love no matter what form you're in. But I said, you cannot be upset about an issue you have not put forth any effort into. And I tell you,
you also can't compare yourself.
Well, the journey of getting to where I wanted to be in a healthier way, the journey itself and the little achievements and accomplishments every day made me feel better than when I finally got on the scale and got to this number that I thought was going to be the end all be all.
Small baby steps make a big difference.
Those accomplishments and achievements made me feel way more validated and way more
beautiful
worth it,
whatever,
beautiful and confident than finally seeing that number ever did. And that number meant nothing. And I know that now. It was the core of the issue that needed to be addressed. And so I think it's important to say, yes, I am enough, but I'm enough because I'm willing to make myself proud and I'm willing to put in the work and I'm willing to go down this route. Whereas a lot of people can just sit to the sidelines and kind of just accept because they don't believe they're worth the effort to change. Yeah. And everyone is worth the effort.
Compare the beauty standards 1 second to my products and I'll break it down. For example, everyone sees on social media what does great. My Rich Bitch mascara, sold so many of them. Love it. There so many people. Use
my promo code.
Yeah. Use code VALET, check out for 10% off. But anyways, no, my Rich Bitch mascara was a hit. It opened up doors for me that I never thought would be. My next thing that came out was my contour palette. You know, something that I don't talk about because this is getting into social media. You only see the sides that people want you to see. Flop.
Contour palette flopped.
Flopped.
Okay.
Flopped. It was probably the worst. I lost money. It just.
And that was directly following the success of Rich Bitch.
Directly.
And so you were probably so amped.
But here's the thing. Yeah. I was wondering, why didn't it? Why didn't it do so good, right? Right? Guess what? You can't compare yourself to something else that is totally different. You can't compete when you can't compare. A mascara doesn't compare to a contour palette.
Yeah.
You can't sit here and compare yourself to the next person because you're not built like the next person.
Even
you don't offer the same
thing.
Yourself
Exactly. In different seasons and different stages.
You're always going to be different. 2023, you might have been that mascara. 2030, you might be the contour palette. But right after that came my next palette, which was my Loud and Proud palette. Did amazing.
Almost sold out.
Almost sold out.
Oh my gosh.
And but it just goes into finding the confidence to say, hey, that didn't work. That don't work for me. I just can't do that. So if big fake boobs and big lips don't work for you, don't allow yourself to be influenced into someone else's beauty standards. Create your own. Be a trailblazer. Even if you can wake up every day and look in the mirror and be like, I love you. I'm happy. That is going to go so far in so many aspects of your life. Confidence opens up so many more doors than insecurities or, oh, what if this show flops? But guess what? We did it. Yeah. We tried. Exactly. We said, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm going to make it happen. So
when you first came to me, what was it, 6 months ago? And you're like, Val, we need to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
We have, our talks that we have, like, it could really help other people. Like, we need to do a podcast. We need to do a podcast. And I just remember this little light inside of me. I don't want to get emotional. This little light inside of me that hadn't sparked since I was a young kid. And, like, when you're a kid and you're like, I have a dream and, like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And then the world kind of beats you down as you get older. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, you sparked a dream in me that I had convinced myself I couldn't do for so long that I was never going to pursue it. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm not, you start talking yourself down and you start talking yourself
that imposter syndrome.
I'm this, I'm that. I don't like the way I look on camera. I don't like the way that I sound. I don't have enough value. Nobody's going to want to listen to what I say. Boom, tucked in the box of dreams that never become reality and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And so to have a friend like you, not only that brings it to me and pushes me to, like, take it from the headspace to the outer world, but to be like, no, like, you do. Yeah. You do. And so it just makes it so much easier to push past that feeling of, oh, I'm not worth it.
Well, I think it also goes into, like, having somebody that you look up to, because I look up to you and vice versa. I know we do, that believes in you. I think somebody that really believes in you goes a long way because it kind of fuels your confidence in yourself that you might have lacked. I know for a fact there's been many times where I have been like, what the hell am I doing? And then me and you will have a discussion and I'm like, that's what the hell I'm doing. Happen. Finding being okay with starting somewhere, whether you're 35 years old and say, hey, I want to go back to school. I want to go back to school. I don't like the job I have. Make the changes in your life. And I know that sounds so much easier than done, but surround yourself with people who give you the confidence. Surround yourself with social media people that look like you. Look up people to see it every day visually, because if you see it, you'll believe it. And if you see other people succeeding that look like you, act like you, talk like you, believe like you, it'll make you have a sense of community, which will make you not feel as lonely. And that's part of the reason I created my brand. Like, we're almost at 11,000 people.
That's amazing.
That is a safe place. You're all beautiful. I love seeing people create products on different skill levels that post and feel gorgeous. Some wear blue eyeshadow and feel like they're the sexiest thing in the world. Some only wear nudes and be like, I'm the hottest thing. But guess what? As long as they feel beautiful and hot about what they're doing, it doesn't matter what the next person thinks, says, or does.
Exactly, because that feeling within yourself is going to carry over into everything of how you speak to people, how you carry yourself,
how successful you are,
and just making sure that you can kind of turn that, and not to be in a way of holier than thou or better than anyone else. But I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about. I think you do, because you kind of notice things the same way I do. But when somebody who I think, to my standard, is a beautiful person, like a beautiful woman, walks in a room and instead of kind of looking like around, but she's hi, how are you today? Yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, you just took the time to ask me how I'm doing. Like, you're polite, you're kind. Like, turning your positivity within yourself into outward positivity does nothing but bring positivity back to you. Whether you believe in the universe, whether you believe in God, it's gonna come back to you. And I think that starts with fulfilling your own beauty standard, like you said. And I think if the young woman
ever sees this,
please know you are enough. And it doesn't matter that I think you're gorgeous. That's extra, that's a bonus. But you are enough, and you're capable of doing what the way that life has unfolded for you in this moment. You're capable of doing it, and you're capable of being successful at it, and you're capable of handling your own, because you have that inner positivity within you, and you're so busy giving it to everyone else that you don't see. You need to reflect it back in the mirror.
And we're talking to ourselves too. Don't ever think that we have it all figured out, because let me tell you something.
No.
Every day I will call her and I will be like, what the hell am I doing under the beauty brand? I look like Oscar the Grouch or Big Bird.
Yeah, and then I'm like, Ryan, I'm so stressed out. I have so many moving pieces. I don't know how I'm going to coordinate. And Ryan's just like, Valerie, breathe. You've done it up to this point. Breathe. You're going to keep doing it. And sometimes, like, having somebody to genuinely say that to you.
That and being overwhelmed and having somebody say, start as a baby step. You have this huge project ahead of you. Start small.
You know what's
work
funny?
Your way up.
You know what I saw this weekend that I never thought I would take to heart? I saw Meg 2.
Did you really?
Yes.
Was it good?
Okay, it was amazing. I don't want to give any spoilers. Like, it was great. Me and Kara went and saw it. But what I don't even remember the main character's name now. But what he said, he had all of these situations, like sharks were attacking and the Kraken came out, and like water was,
if it went bad, it went bad.
If it could have, it would have in that movie. If you haven't seen Meg 2, make sure you go see it. It's great. But something that he told his adopted daughter every time that she would get scared or stressed and she didn't know what she was going to do, it was life or death, was we take the situation as they come, and we deal with what's in front of us, and we worry about the rest later. And that really sunk in with me, because he said it 2 or 3 times in the movie. And it was one of those moments where he's serious and he's looking, and she's like, I think we're going to die. And he's like, we handle what's in front of us, and then we worry about the rest after.
Yeah.
And I think taking that into business, taking that into building confidence in yourself, into building a mindset that'll give you the life that you're wanting, adopting that to heart and saying, you know what? I have 100,000 things
I'm going to focus on
that could go wrong right now, but this is what's in front of me, and I don't need to overwhelm myself taking it. I think that as women, we need to get off the track. Like, we're going 100 miles an hour down the track of like, okay, well, I'm going to get a smaller waist and bigger boobs and bigger butt and bigger lips and prettier and less wrinkles, and I'm just going to keep doing that until I feel that I have this gaze, or that I have this attention, and that'll make me feel validated. And what we don't realize is, no matter how much you do that, you are now becoming the reason another woman is scrolling through her boyfriend's Instagram following and crying and asking herself, why don't I look like this? And the odds that she's doing the same looking at your page, because we're all so beautifully different and unique, is high.
Mm-hmm. You know what I find interesting now? And I'm thinking about this with you right now, okay? Straight up raw and real. It's crazy that you can look yourself in the mirror and you can see all these flaws and you can see all these things, and we're gonna stop and record again to say all this, but one of the things I want to say to somebody like that is, Val, somebody like you, for example, when you look in the mirror, you probably see like this average girl or this whatever that's like every day trying to just make it. But me, you know what I see? This brave alpha woman that has the world at her hands, that is so beautiful, that as a gay man, I'd be like, damn, Val. You know what I'm saying? But most women get pitted against each other, and they get put into this society pressure of, I have to look this way. I have to have this certain standards things. I have to be able to get this many likes on social media. I have to be able to get this many followers, or none of that matters. What truthfully matters in this life is finding genuine happiness. And this is so cliche. Comfortability and happiness with yourself.
Exactly.
Accepting, hey, you know what? I'm not an Instagram model, but guess what? I've come a long way, and I'm Valerie that's 2023 that's going to be totally different than Valerie that's 2020. They're all stages of life. You have to love each stage that you come in. All right, you guys, that was episode 1. That's a wrap.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in this long. We are so excited to bring you more content on how to stay mindful in your everyday life and keep business at top of your focus for all of our fellow entrepreneurs out there.
And if you guys want to keep up and see episode 2, or where it's going to be or when it'll be, check our social medias that are linked down below. And if you have any content that you would like to see on this channel, please leave us a comment down below as well. Next episode, we'll be peeling the curtain back behind Valerie's life in real estate and how she's gotten where she has today.
What a roller coaster. Y'all are definitely going to want to see it. Even if you don't have any interest in a career in real estate, just the struggles that it took. Oh my goodness gracious. And I still have so so much further to go. I'm so excited to let you guys get in this crazy head a little bit and just kind of see my thought process. As you'll see, I have a tendency to make things a little bit more difficult than they should be. So
that, and you can always learn from another entrepreneur. I've learned so much from you in my own beauty industry, from the real estate industry, or like what it takes.
And vice versa. Absolutely.
You'll be surprised when you learn some shit.
Yeah, you just always have to be a sponge, just always absorbing, taking everything.
What's your good line that I always steal from you?
Oh my goodness, yes. If you are the smartest person in the room, you're sitting in the wrong room. So on that note, we're going to leave you guys. And until we see you next time, remember,
mind your business.